Okay, so every time the game starts over, every time there's a great reset, like a flash freeze, like the Ice Age, a mud flood, you have these figures that come down. In ancient civilizations, they're regarded as like godlike figures, right? It's usually about 7 of them. They come down after the deluge, right? So what if these 7 figures are the ones that we know today as archons that run these simulations, that live in these other realms that we see where we take dimethyltryptamine and ayahuasca in their light bodies? What if these 7 figures are also what Enoch called the Watchers? And they're always there waiting, studying, right? Like a thought experiment, waiting to see when they need to restart the game.
5D Mystery School.
5D Mystery School. So I want to start this thought right now, then I'm going to finish it later in the video. So I finished watching Ancient Apocalypse on Netflix, and I noticed that a lot of what I was seeing supported the research that I've been doing in the lectures that I put out, right? You see that these ancient civilizations, they start right out of chaos. It's order out of chaos. They start after some type of huge cataclysm. And then after they start, an advanced civilization comes in, teaches them things on how to do things. They build tools, they teach them language, they teach them agriculture, just essentially the foundation of how to live life. This ancient civilization, they disappear, and then they leave these hunter-gatherer groups by themselves to work with the knowledge that they've given them. And then these groups that they form out of the chaos, they study the stars, they study the cosmos, and then they write down what they're seeing and break and cement, right? And it happens like a flood happens. Civilizations are wiped out, and then some humans live, they survive, and then you notice that they start to build in the earth. They go in the ground, right? And they build a pyramid on top of it, but they have these layers, they have these rooms underneath the pyramid, inside of the earth. Now, the question is that were they shielding themselves from this flash freeze, this ice age? Or is this their innate way of living? Is this the knowledge that they receive from the earth to live inside of the earth, right? So I'm gonna leave that thought there, then I'm gonna finish it in the video right now. Okay, so essentially, when it comes to like these different ancient civilizations, whether it be the Atlanteans, the Aztecs, the mound builders, the Egyptians, they all either like vanished or they're wiped out by a cataclysm. And although these groups never made contact with each other, they had a lot of things in common. For instance, they lived inside of the earth. They dug inside the earth and lived there, and then they built structures on top, like pyramids. And they all built pyramids. The pyramids weren't all the exact same, but they were pyramids nonetheless. But the pyramids all did have the same structure, like they were all pointing to something, like they were all, like the pyramid reaches a certain point, and I think that's symbolic of what they witnessed while they were here. Why did they all choose to build pyramids? What were they trying to communicate to people like us that followed and were left with these clues? I mean, they were all clearly trying to tell us something. They were trying to tell us that this is a closed system. Like you have a firmament. In the beginning, God made the firmament and earth. Heaven and firmament are interchangeable. In a group like the Mayans, this is known as the Mayan calendar. They left this behind, but it looks like a map of this flat earth plane, right? And then an emphasis on the center. And we're also left with mythology like King Arthur, which is just symbolic of the center of the flat earth plan. And let's not forget these type of unexplainable clues that are left behind that are still unanswered. How did they know about this technology back in the day? And then in modern day times, we're trolled with Movies like The Eternals, which is pretty much everything that I'm saying right now in a nutshell. It's like really the all-seeing eye symbolizes the watchers, because like they see everything, they see the game, and they can reset the game at any time, and they have plenty of times. I was thinking, if you look at this like from a top-down view, you know, and this like the center is like the entrance at the Arctic, and then you have like two separate entrances that can be like cave systems. You know, a lot of people go missing in cave systems. One thing that I said during the live class discussion is that the deeper that you dig, the more history that you find, because of all these floods are happening, especially mud floods. The mud hardens, and then the history is buried, and then a new history builds on top of that hardened foundation. And in Ancient Apocalypse on Netflix, Graham Hancock said that the deeper that they dug, the more history they found. Another thing that a lot of these different ancient civilizations had in common was that they built structures, different monuments, to track the movements of Sirius. And Graham came to the conclusion, since every different civilization he was researching had snakes embedded in their culture, was that they were watching the skies and they counted like, you know, meteors or comets as snakes, you know, because they always have a tail behind them. It was almost like they tracked the movements of the stars and when different cataclysms would happen. And I don't know if that's why they dug and lived inside of the earth, because of these different cataclysms, or if they went to searching and they found how the inner earth works and how other people live inside the earth, or if that's how they were taught by these watchers on how they should live, how they should build. You see, the ancients knew we couldn't go nowhere. We still trying to figure it out. NASA with those little weak ass rockets. Anyway, that's all for today. Back to your programming. Enjoy the simulation. Peace.